Well, Helldivers 2 shows no signs of slowing down, but their limited server capacity is certainly getting in the way. With another record-breaking weekend behind them, the devs are scrambling to come up with solutions, both with more server capacity, but also just with more labor and back-end optimization solutions as well. And while the Steam charts continue to climb and pass the records of other games, the queue times and the server issues are causing the score on Steam to drop. Negative reviews on Steam seem to mostly fall into two camps: those who don't like the anti-cheat and those who simply can't play due to the servers being at capacity. One person had said that they spent roughly 6 hours in queue over the weekend. Others question if the game has staying power, especially if after an entire week they still cannot get ahead of the demand. Now, I put all the good information right here at the beginning of the video in the form of an opening monologue. That way you don't have to go looking for it. It's a longer video because it is a live stream, so once I'm done with the opening monologue, I discuss it with the live audience. So make sure you hit subscribe and that bell button so you don't miss out on my shows. So Helldivers 2 continues to break player records, but also continues to struggle with server capacity. The CEO indicated that everyone is exhausted after many late nights, on calls, emergency meetings, and discussions around their server capacity problems. He also spoke about how this is not just as simple as buying more servers. I, for one, think the game has massive potential for the ongoing live service long haul, but all that potential could struggle to maintain good momentum and rhythm if they can't get in front of the growing demand. Because too much demand for a game can start to sort of fold back in on itself and drive players away from the game. There's also speculation about how the player base is splitting between the two platforms, with player caps being set to 450,000, and Steam alone has been hitting over 400,000 players at times. It's hard to know how many are sitting in queue and how many are logged in and playing. So first, I want to walk through what happened. We've got player numbers, server issues, the Steam score dropping, and the CEO outlining why they cannot just simply buy more capacity. Second, I want to look at the reactions to all of this. Some are running with really bad math about the player numbers and the breakdowns. Others are just frustrated that they can't play with the reports of many sitting in queue for far more hours than they have actually been able to play. Thankfully, my wife and I were able to get in both Friday and Saturday night, and we've really enjoyed our time in the game. Now, lastly, I will tell you what I think. The potential I see for this game's ability to add content is limitless, and the popularity will hopefully serve those future efforts rather than work against it. And the question about how much PlayStation leans in to help with capacity, labor, and the likelihood of them buying Arrowhead like they have with other successful partnerships in the past. There's also those hoping to see the game come to Xbox, and the notion that a smaller studio and a game at a lower price is kicking the snot out of big AAA games. So first, what happened? With the current player peak for the game at around 409,000, it ranks in the top 25 most played games on Steam when you rank games by their all-time peak. And if the devs can get the server capacity ramped up, it could potentially climb even higher. For perspective, some of the big names that they have passed on Steam for an all-time peak record are Grand Theft Auto 5, Starfield, and Destiny 2. When the devs said their opening weekend was unexpected, I would imagine what is happening now is the best case dream but nightmare scenario. It's obviously great to have your game be in demand, but the fear of not capturing lightning in a bottle, as many players will get fed up and they will walk away, that's certainly a unique pressure to face. Now, the question of how the player base splits is not something we can accurately answer. Given the server capacity is set at 450,000, when Steam hit 409,000, that does not mean that there were only 41,000 people playing on PlayStation. The game has jumped to the #1 spot on PlayStation, above the likes of Fortnite and Call of Duty, so it stands to reason that the game is pulling just as strong as on PlayStation as when the game first launched. The devs indicated that at that time, the split was 50-50, around 200,000 on both platforms. The thing to remember is that the Steam charts can climb even while people are waiting in queue. This happened with New World, and yesterday, Helldivers 2 had around 230,000 people on Steam, and just 2 hours later, it jumped to 360,000. That's another 130,000 people. That entire time, the servers were at capacity. and yet the Steam charts looked like 130,000 more people were playing. Well, that would mean that I guess 130,000 people stopped playing on PlayStation in that time frame to make room, which is highly unlikely. The Steam charts simply report who has the game open, not how many people are actually inside the game. So whenever there are server queues, you can get a misrepresentation of how many people are actually playing. This was notorious during the New World MMO launch weekend. The game was sitting in the number 8 spot right now. New World is in the number 8 spot for all-time peak with 913,000. They got close to 1 million, and a huge percentage of those people were just sitting in a queue. Compounding this problem, PC Gamer is reporting that many players are simply sitting AFK in the game so as not to lose their place. We had a few people reporting that if you leave the game open and you put your PS5 in standby mode, it actually leaves you in the game. Now, understandably, they did not put any AFK protections in because they didn't anticipate this being a problem, but the CEO has said that he agrees it needs to be addressed. Now, all of this has not helped the game's score on Steam. It was improving and it was headed to 80%. I believe it peaked at 76 or 77%, but the weekend and the server problems has dropped it back down to 70% on Steam. It might even be lower right now. I wrote this monologue last night. The score on PlayStation has fared a bit better at 86%, but even that has dropped a bit since the opening weekend. If my memory is correct, the game had around an 89 or a 90 on PlayStation for the opening weekend. And these are the types of issues that are not lost on the devs. The CEO indicated that they are all exhausted after, quote, many late nights, on-calls, emergency meetings, and discussions around server capacity. And he also made it clear that they can't just buy more servers. He replied to somebody on Twitter and he said the following: "It's not a matter of money or buying more servers, it's a matter of labor. We need to optimize the back-end code. We are hitting some real limits." So, since he was active on Twitter, I decided to ask him about the player base breakdown, and he sort of indirectly replied. Somebody replied to my tweet when I asked, hey, is the player base still largely 50-50 split between the two platforms? And they said, the game's roughly 50-50 between both. The devs told us that last week, and up until server issues worsened. Then the queue system came, and then the Steam users crossed 276,000. Now, this person corrected their own typo with spelling the word queue, and then the CEO replied and said 4 of those 5 letters are unnecessary. So I'm not sure if he was like softly confirming what they said rather than refuting or disagreeing with it, or given the tribalism and the toxicity on Twitter, he's just trying to avoid any admittance that maybe one platform is pulling more than another. Now, I pointedly asked him if it was still 50-50 or not, and he simply didn't reply. I could honestly see this game pulling a bit stronger on PC, but I could also see it pulling strong on console. I've seen numerous screenshots of the game ranked number 1 on PlayStation, most popular above Fortnite, and that is not an easy feat. Now, what has the reaction to all of this been? Well, I took to Twitter to see what everybody thought about this game, and I said this. I said, Helldivers 2 player count speculation is all over the place. What are your thoughts on the success? And what do you think the player breakdown is? Like, what's the player base breakdown? Now, many were quick to say, hey, the devs said the player split is 50-50. And yes, that's true. The devs did say that, but that was roughly 9 days ago. And with the game's popularity growing, it's reasonable to think that the split would largely hold, as some were falsely claiming that, well, since 409,000 were playing on Steam, that only roughly 40,000 were playing on PlayStation. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of what the Steam charts track. It also seems beyond logical to think that the game would open their opening weekend with over 200,000 people playing on PlayStation, and after a week of crazy growth and popularity, that PlayStation would somehow lose thousands of players and only Steam would grow. This take honestly seems most rooted in the console fighting and the folks trying to leverage data to fit a false narrative. Now, I've had some claim that the game simply won't make it. One person noted that it's crazy it beat Destiny 2's record on Steam, but that was in Destiny 2's 6th year. This game will be dead well before year 6. I certainly don't know what the plans are for this game, but popularity like this doesn't tend to fade immediately. It also is not a guarantee that the game will last. Harnessing this level of interest and demand is a huge challenge, and if not done properly, it can work against itself. And in the realm of complaint, I have seen some claim, hey, Sony should be offering refunds to those who purchase this and still are not able to play. I even saw Nib95. He and I interact on Twitter. It's very cordial. I appreciate his input. He said that the game should temporarily be removed from stores given it's being sold and folks can't even play. Now, I certainly understand the frustration, as many consumers likely buy the game after it's been out over a week, and they're not expecting to sit in a queue for 6 hours. In the first 48 hours, it certainly is reasonable to expect issues, but after this much time, it's hard to tell a player that they should expect to buy a game and just simply not be able to play. This is basically a best/worst case scenario. It's great to have this much interest, but it sours it for anybody who has limited time and they've paid money to just simply stare at a start screen. While writing this monologue at roughly 6 p.m. Eastern on Monday, February the 19th, the game climbed to 404,000 on Steam. It was just within reach of its previous record, and the servers were at capacity the entire time that the game was climbing on Steam from like 200,000 to 400,000 players. So folks continue to buy. They're continuing to pile in, hoping for a piece of the action. Now, on the player-based numbers breakdown front, I've seen many people agree with me. They're like, listen, it's been about 50 to 60% PC. PlayStation just a few days ago made up about 200 to 270,000. It's not possible that it went down to 50,000. I believe this is a very reasonable take. The price point and the word of mouth is working its magic. It stands to reason that if Steam has seen crazy growth, then that's a barometer of consumer response, and that PlayStation has grown as well. And some are obviously looking to the future. They're saying, listen, I'd love to see a roadmap. I'd love to see future content plans. Now, I said this becomes something that is needed after about 3 weeks. I don't think in the first 2 weeks or first week we need to hear about a roadmap. But if you cannot outline a roadmap for future content plans after about 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to really need to get that out in front of people. This got this many people playing, you need to be able to hit them with a little reminder, like a welcome message in the game that, hey, after a few weeks, we want you to know we're going to be adding to the game. Here's a very basic roadmap or plan or structure. Now, why is this important? Because you know people are going to take breaks, especially in 2024 with so many games coming out. You need to make sure they know, hey, you're going to want to loop back to Helldivers. You're going to want to circle back and check our game out. You need to anticipate people taking breaks from this game. Now, another reaction that I'm seeing, and I'm actually quite enjoying this, is people are saying, well, this game went from DOA and trash live service to Phil Spencer saying it helps nobody being exclusive and a petition to bring it to Xbox. Now, this is why I've continued to say that live service games are not automatically the devil. The people who mindlessly hate on them and decry them as trash, they're looking a little silly right now. We should not write off games so quickly. Now, I don't want to get into the whole port begging accusation discussion because I would love to see more people be able to play this game. I don't care if Helldivers 2 lands on Xbox. It simply doesn't bother me. That's why I'm not bothered if Starfield comes to PS5. I already own that game in 2 places, and I already own Helldivers. As long as the games are ported in a way that the game is quality when it's ported and that the players and the consumers get a good product. And I think I may have spoke out of turn. I looked at the minimum required hardware on Steam. This game could easily port to the Xbox Series S. By and large, I think the overwhelming reaction is that this game is great and people just want to play. So let me give you my brief thoughts on this game. First and foremost, this game has massive potential. And sometimes saying a game has massive potential doesn't really mean much. It's kind of generic. But I want to give specific reasons why I think that. Their ability to add planets and enemies is honestly limitless. And with how different the automatons and the terminids play as enemies, they clearly know how to create different tension points and battle flow. So, entirely new planets, biomes, and enemies could be added to the game, and this could require a whole new set of weapons and stratagems, since you can change your loadout before landing, and you also pick your stratagems at that same time. The level of variety and depth that they could add is honestly endless. Any enemies or planet types, but well, if they add them, maybe it requires a whole new arsenal of guns, grenades, armor, and stratagems, and then the battle pass would obviously dovetail beautifully with that. You could have very, very thematic looking armor and guns and ways of engaging in combat. And on the subject of, well, PCs carrying the game, well, we have no indication of that. Folks ran with stats and they grossly misrepresented them. That's kind of a theme these days. And many consistently demonstrate that they simply don't understand how the Steam charts work. But even if the split ends up being weighted more heavily for PC, let's say 60-40 or 70-30, That doesn't really matter to me. Live service games need players, and seeing close to 500,000 people playing, or at least trying to play on PC, that's a great sign for the game's future. It also destroys two false narratives in one fell swoop. PlayStation Live Service plans have certainly not failed, as many people said after they canceled The Last of Us Online. They are seemingly just getting started, and they're starting with the bang. And the other thing that people say that's clearly been demolished is that, well, live service games can't be great. They're trash or they're manipulative. I do think this puts AAA studios and publishers on notice. Live service games with big budgets and big sticker prices, they have a lot to contend with. The free-to-play live service games are one thing, but $40 AA game like this that has taken the world by storm, that might be a tougher hill to climb against. But that's just what I think. What do you think? So let me give you my closing thoughts and conclusion on this one. The server capacity problem is certainly a complex one. In general, the issue facing Helldivers 2 is that they didn't even remotely anticipate this level of response. New World had an advantage when they came out because they had Amazon at their backs and they were spinning up servers rather quickly. But a smaller AA studio, even with the help of Sony, simply can't snap their fingers and solve this problem. They've indicated that the team from PlayStation is helping, but even that's a challenge due to folks not being familiar with the systems or the back-end code. The second thing I want to say is debates about port begging or where the game has more players just continues to feel like a death rattle of a fight that fewer and fewer people really care about. This game is an undeniable success and gamers are having fun. And a small studio is getting heaps of praise and financial success. If people want to keep score in an abandoned stadium where a handful of people gather around to cheer for imaginary victories and losses, I guess that's their choice. I'm busy playing a great game and enjoying it with my wife and my community. My conclusion is this. I've continued to say that live service games have not fully landed or fully evolved. There will be changes, iterations, updates, new ideas. Helldivers 2 is certainly showing a middle path. You don't have to make your game free to play, but you also don't need to smack a full price sticker on it either. And I get that studios and projects and project size, that will play a role. Not every game and not every budget is equal. But I continue to think that as we see budget concerns for the bigger studios and the bigger games, something that will emerge from that is the mid-size studio and the mid-size price. More $40 and $50 games, I think, are in our future. And I think the $70 big tentpole games will be there, but I think they're going to be fewer and far between. Not that they'll go away. But the industry's going to have to adapt and make adjustments. You need smaller studios that are more agile and not so risky with budgets that are in the red if you don't have a killer opening month. As we already saw, they have plans for Spider-Man 3 to land in a very different way, and that's likely one more level of adaptation to these problems with big budgets. But those are just my thoughts. Now it's time to hear your thoughts. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are going to, oops, I hit the wrong button. We are going to try to play today as well. I'm going to do a second stream, and we're going to try to play. They're supposed to be putting out a Helldivers 2 patch today that should help alleviate problems. That is what we are hearing. We are hearing that that's their plan, and we're going to see if that actually comes to fruition because we're going to try and log in and play today. This is a game I definitely want to continue to grind and spend time in. I want to unlock everything. I really, really like this game. It's an awful lot of fun. Eugene says, server issues are not a long-term issue. It creates buzz and virality. It tells people that the game is so good, it's hard to get into. It's like popular nightclub. Did you get in tonight? How was it? Was a celebrity there? Oh, you didn't get in, maybe tomorrow. Right, and I think that starts to run out of gas, Eugene. I don't think that you're wrong. I do think that eventually the virality of it will wear thin. People will say, enough's enough, dude. It's been 2 weeks. It's been however long. I just want to play the dadgum game, right? Now, I saw calls from Nib and others to like, hey, take the game out of the store. You know, Final Fantasy stopped selling itself at a certain point in time because they couldn't get server capacity up to snuff, and they were like, hey, they stopped selling their game. I don't necessarily think it's that simple. You can't just yank a game out of the store because, of some server issues that could be fixed any day now. It could sort of start to work itself out, and it's like, well, we pulled the game from the store for 24 hours and didn't really need to, right? I need to thank Jassification with 20 months in a VIP, says I'm doing my part. Henry Heck with a VIP. And Joker Quinn, Han shot first and so did you. We got a big goal for you guys this week. My wife will be out of town, so I'm going to be flying solo this Friday night. So if we hit 3,000, we're going to do a community game night. And Creature has said, that if we hit 3,500... he will join me. You guys don't want to miss it. Now, that's a bit of a stretch goal. He doesn't really like doing streams, but he is willing if we hit a crazy, crazy big goal. So you might want to bat signal the big guys, the big dogs who drop the bombs on stream fairly regularly. We appreciate their generosity very, very much, and we appreciate you guys being here. Because I am excited that this game is doing so well. You know, we said that we thought the game was going to be good. I don't think I had any idea that the game was going to hit this level of popularity. I didn't see it happening. I thought, oh, it'll be a good game, good knockaround game, you know. So today what we're discussing the Helldivers 2 servers at capacity issues and how that's going to be a major point of struggle, and they're going to have to figure this out. Now, again, they did indicate that there will be a patch today that is supposed to help and is supposed to alleviate certain things. And, you know, the opening monologue, I indicated that, like, I think the game has massive potential. I think there's almost limitless things that they can add to this game. People are happy about Sea of Thieves, but us bots had MLB The Show for 2 years, and it runs better on Xbox. I mean, that's not really the subject today. I mean, I don't feel like that's really contributing to a healthy discussion. You're just kind of trying to sling, you know, console mud. I actually think this game would be great if they could get it over to Xbox. That doesn't... I think live service games they're different in my mind. They are. I think live service games being in more places is awesome. What we're actually discussing today is the Helldivers 2 servers at capacity problems. Like, if they can't get in front of this, it really isn't going to matter, right? They're eventually going to, I think they'll run out of gas. Like, right now, everybody's just dying to get in. But after a while, people are going to be like, I can't play. I'm not going to wait around for forever to play this game. And I think that that's fair. I do think it's fair for people to, you know, afford the devs a little bit of grace, given that they are smaller and given that none of this was anticipated, right? I don't think anybody thought that this game was going to hit the levels that it has hit. And so, you know, I'm trying to be patient. But at the same time, it's like, y'all got to figure this out, man. You're gonna miss out on a huge opportunity here because everybody wants to play your game right now. And I think on Steam especially, people are just gonna start refunding. If they go a couple of days and can't play, like, how could you blame somebody? It's like, what are they supposed to do? Just sit on a starting screen, you know? Yo, John with 25 months in a VIP. Morning, Lono. Haven't been able to catch the live streams lately, but I've been loving all your coverage as always. The new segment with Kirk is great. HD is another example why I'm dying to get a PS5. Oh, Helldivers is another great example of why you're dying to get a PS5. The devs are rattled. Well, I mean, the devs are like, they're exhausted. Like, they're like, it's one of those things where, like, you're trying to celebrate, but at the same time, it's like, we can't really celebrate. We're getting buried. You know, you're getting the death hug of the internet right now, and I think that can be both. Wow, I can't believe this is happening. But once they come down from that high of celebration of like, this is amazing, it's like, we have work to do. This is going to be difficult. This is going to be difficult to navigate. I'm at my wit's ends with Helldivers. Yeah, if you can't get in, I mean, what are you supposed to do? You just sit there. You just sit there and stare at a starting screen, you know? In my opinion, people complaining about port begging have created a petition, the ultimate form of port begging. I'm not putting a whole lot of stock in that petition. I mean, I obviously made mention of it, but anybody could have made that petition. Like, that could have been somebody trolling, right? Given the history of things like that, I would put money on an ornery PlayStation fan did that just to be like a jerk. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't put a whole lot of stock into that petition being real. At the same time, there are people that are just like, that's a cool game. I want that game. That'd be awesome if that game was over here. I think there are people who are more simplistic, right? There are a lot of people that look at the gaming industry and they don't give a rip about console tribalism. They just see a fun game and they're like, I'd love to play that, right? Same thing happened with Power World. Yeah, wasn't there a petition for Power World? I mean, come on. Again, I think there are people who are very, very simplistic. Everybody saw Power World and they're like, oh my gosh, that game looks fun. I would love to play that game. And remember, I said, I have not changed my position on this. When Power World came out, I said I would love for it to be on PlayStation because then I could play it with my kiddos. When a game like that, when a live service game is in more places, it benefits me, just like when we played Lego Fortnite, right? And then I said, in the same breath, I said, Helldivers 2, I would have no problem with that coming to Xbox. If they can get a good port and the people on Xbox get a good experience, that's better for everybody. I just don't care. With live service games, I've always argued the business angle. When people are always like, well, what about this game? This PlayStation game coming to Xbox. I'm like, I don't care if there's a business reason to do it. If there's a business angle to do it, it's why I wasn't bothered when games went to PC. Do you remember when people were celebrating that the Last of Us PC port was bad and they were PlayStation fans? They were like thumbing their nose at PC guys. I'm like, why are you celebrating a great piece of property that got ported bad? Like, you're so against games going to PC that you think this is worth celebrating? I remember ranting about that. I was like, that's so stupid. That doesn't even make any sense. It's never bothered me because it's like, if you're going to take a great game, like one of my favorite games, like Ghost of Tsushima, and you're going to port it to PC and it makes a ton of more money and a bunch more people get to play it, well, I'm going to celebrate that. That's not going to bother me at all. It's never once bothered me that games go to PC, and it wouldn't bother me if a game went to Xbox. If there's a good business reason to do it, you want to know why I support it? I've gotten a lot of flack for this over the years. I have consistently said that if I like a dev and I like a studio and I like a game, I want them to make buckets of cash. And people are like, you're always pro-corporation. You're darn right, because if they make buckets of cash with this thing that I love, they're going to keep doing it. If they're barely making money, if we're all penny pinching and we're like, dude, games are too expensive and I don't want to buy a game and I don't like buying games and I don't like spending money on games. Okay, great. Well, if the company feels like they can't get the profit margins and the momentum with their game, then they'll stop making it and supporting it. Like, are you going to celebrate that as a victory? Like, we were frugal to a fault and that studio closed down. Like, I'm not saying it's that simple, but I've always been in support of this is a symbiotic relationship. If the companies make tons of money with product A, they're going to keep investing in product A. And if I really like product A, I'm like, man, I hope they make buckets of cash. So if there's a business reason to bring an exclusive over to PC or over to Xbox, if they can justify the money spent and they see ROI, I'm like, do it. Like, who cares? Like, what difference does it make? Generally speaking, and historically speaking, a lot of these games, there would be no business angle. There would be no reason to be like, well, let's take God of War over to Xbox because it's like a tentpole, identity-driving game. But Helldivers 2 is a live service game. So to me, I think of it differently. Live service games, in the mind of many players, well, that's like a Fortnite. That's like a Call of Duty. That's like an Apex. It's sort of platform agnostic at that point. It's like, well, who cares where you play Fall Guys? You see? Now, PlayStation may see it differently. They may see the success of Helldivers 2, and they may say, oh no, we are not letting go of this. This is great for us. We were wanting to invest in live service, and we've got a killer, so we're keeping it. They may say the opposite. They may say, this thing's a killer. It's proven concept that this game has support off our platform. Let's get a version for Xbox. I don't know. Because Eugene's saying, I don't think there's any compelling business reason. If I was putting chips on the table, I would bet and say that PlayStation's going to conclude we keep this one. This is good for our brand, especially with Xbox as a brand sort of in flux right now, right? So I would put money on the table. If somebody forced me to bet and they're like, what do you think PlayStation's going to do? I think they would keep this as a PlayStation console exclusive. And then that right now, what I think PlayStation's likely focusing on is get these guys the support they need. I think they might buy them. I think they might buy Arrowhead. This has been too successful. You want to grab these guys and scoop them up and give them the support that they need, that we may see a purchase sometime this year. Although PlayStation's operating costs are still not great. They're low, and they released an official statement. It's still because of the stuff with Bungie. They amortized it, or whatever the frick that word means, and because they did that, their operating costs aren't great. They're anticipating that improving by like 20% or something, or going down by 20% in the next fiscal year, because they'll no longer be under the amortized Bungie acquisition. But I don't know if they're going to want to do that again. Are they going to want to spend? They did say they were going to increase acquisition spending, so this could be one of those things. So yeah, I tend to agree with Eugene that Helldivers 2 will remain a PlayStation console exclusive. I actually think they're going to keep it. There won't be a big enough impetus to take it elsewhere. So I think you're right. I've been seeing Xbox content creators break down and buy a PS5. That's a win for Sony. That's exactly right. And this is a game. This just proves doesn't this just prove a long-standing debate? I mean, doesn't this just prove a long-standing debate that if you make a great game, people will buy a console for it? They will. Like the thing about this is like this game is it's not doing anything that is crazy innovative. It really isn't if you think about it. It's like they just, what did I say the other day? I phrased it in a certain way. I said it seems like what they achieved was excellence in every category. Like everything just feels good. Now they are open to improving FSR. People are saying that when it's upscaled to 4K, there's issues. I run performance, so I'm not doing that, right? But, PC and other places, taking it up to 4K is certainly dealing with some stuff. Okay, fine. But by and large, I think the game is beautiful. I think the sound design, the lighting, every time I'm playing it, I'm struck. I'm like, I just can't believe how good this game looks. Like, I can't believe they pulled this off, right? Do you think that's much of the case now as before? Valiant, I need you to expect, what are you asking about the good games selling consoles, or what are you pressing against? The Mean Joe Green says, it just proves the point. I know two people personally that switched. I'm telling you, listen, I told people early this gen, I said, dude, when they got Joseph Staten, I was like, there's something about Halo. I said, Halo can have a comeback. I said, Halo's a special game. I said, people will come back for Halo, okay? This game is proving that if you can nail the live service format and you got that knock-around game with your buds, people will support it. Oh, buying a console for a game. So let me reread your original question. Do you think this is as much the case now as before? It would probably be a question of volume, Valiant, right? Like, is PlayStation going to say, we saw an insane number of people buy PlayStations for Helldivers 2? No, probably not, right? Probably not. However, it proves that it will get some. So if you're releasing games at a cadence, exclusivity especially, people are like, well, it's not first party. Okay, well, the consumers don't know anything about that. All they know is that Stellar Blade's exclusive, Helldivers 2 is exclusive, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is exclusive. These are console exclusive games. And if you get enough of those in a year, Valiant, who's to say? You get a couple 100,000 with this game, couple 100,000 with that game, and before you know it, you've achieved movement in the market with your games. What's with the weird aspect ratio? This is intended for mobile viewing if you're over on Reforge Rundown. If you want a full screen stream, you got to come over to my main streaming channel, Reforge Gaming. Reforge Rundown is mainly where we re-upload our monologues, but I also stream here vertically for the shorts feed and for mobile viewers. If you prefer a horizontal stream, head over to Reforge Gaming for that. Almost like Xbox was built off of single game hype. Well, and this is what I love. This is what I love about Helldivers 2. It's destroyed so many narratives. It's like, well, all they can do over there are single player movie games, and it's like, are you sure about that? I mean, this game's kind of crushing it, and it also is so good that even PC users are like, yo, I need to play that game. All right, and now you also have the audience saying, yeah, we love a game like this. We'll support a game like this. We'll support a live service game. Amortizing costs equals expensing costs over a number of years instead of in one shot because the costs are generating revenues over a number of years in the simplest of terms. It's an accounting rule called matching. Right, and nobody reported on that. Listen, the reason we didn't do a show about that is I don't really feel like doing a finance stream where I have to educate people who should be better at their jobs. The gaming press's inability to accurately quote Hiroki Totoki about latter half and educating people who should know more about finances than me, I didn't really feel like doing that stream because I think that's boring and I think it's kind of pathetic and it shouldn't even be needed. I'd rather talk about games and have fun, and that's why I didn't cover it. We went and looked at it. I was like, I don't want to do that stream. That's boring as heck. Correcting a bunch of lies, like I'm bored with that. I'm tired of that. I did that so much last year. I've hit my max. I'd rather talk about video games, dude. 5 spot from Street Shadow. If Final Shape is well received, Bungie impact on margins might turn positive for Sony. Also, do you see the PS5 Pro and GTA 6 news on Push Square? I've not seen the GTA 6 news, but you know, isn't it amazing that a console that's allegedly entering its latter stages is launching a Pro this year? It's just crazy. It's almost as if latter half indicates we're going into the second half of the console's life cycle, which makes perfectly good sense as to why the PS5 Pro is coming out this year. It's just crazy how abysmal the gaming journalism is that in 2 weeks time, 1 week's time, wow, it's almost as if Sony never said latter stages and y'all can't copy and paste direct quotes, and well, here we got a PS5 Pro coming. I guess they're not entering their latter stages. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, just don't lie. I think it's easy to not lie. You just tell the truth. It's a lot easier than changing quotes. You know, I like copy and pasting. It's really easy. It's a lot easier than changing words. Not to mention the first few years of generation are cost-heavy manufacturing etc. They push 55 million consoles in 3.5 years. Tons of cost. The profits come now, says Eugene. People don't know you spend money to make money. The spending always happens first. The making comes later. Another thing I just didn't feel like getting into. I don't feel like educating people that report on the finances of a company who seemingly don't know a clue about it. So it's like I didn't feel like doing that as a show. Their inability to tell the truth and to accurately report and to know what they're talking about, that's not my responsibility. I want to talk about games. I think this is going to be one of the longest console cycles we have just because the Sickie was a thing. The only reason I don't think it's going to happen is because there's already deals being brokered with parts and stuff and contracts. I agree with you. This will be the longest, but not by much. I think I overestimated how much they would push it back. Maybe 1 year. It's not a PlayStation tax and it's not a Sony tax. It's ineptitude and rage farming. That's all it is. It's not a Sony tax. They're just either dumb or dishonest, or a bit of both. There's no Sony tax. They're just bad at their jobs. That's an easier explanation. And on the subject of Destiny, I don't really have strong opinions on that game anymore. So... Oops, sorry. People will say they don't have a right to talk about the financials. Well, then don't run with headlines and clip grabs. I mean, I don't know. Don't talk about it then. It's that simple. What's funny is this console gen feels like it zoomed by. Well, it did, because if you think about it, 2021 and 2022 are kind of a blur, right? They're kind of a blur. They really, really are. I don't really remember a lot of that time. I don't remember 2020 and 2021. It's a blur for me for different reasons, but how many of the 240,000 Helldivers 2 players are on Steam right now are in queue playing? It's hard to know because a lot of the times, like with the Steam charts in general, it says there's 233,000 people playing. And you're telling me there's 240? I refuse to believe that only 7,000 people are playing on PlayStation. I think this puts to bed the idea that, oh yeah, nobody's playing on PlayStation. If servers are at capacity right now, surprise, surprise, there's 233,000 people playing on Steam, and that means there's a teeny bit more playing on PlayStation. Are servers at capacity right now? Are you guys trying to get in? Tiger Tier says, I'm trying to play. Are you able to get in right now, or is there a wait? Is there like, a couple minutes wait? No matchmaking? I don't know if matchmaking has been fixed. Matchmaking needs to be fixed as well. Server capacity with Helldivers 2 has got to be addressed immediately. And secondly, they got to get matchmaking working, because a game like this is going to live off of solo players. You need solo players. Optic Gamer says, I can't get in. It was working for me 10 minutes ago. Most of the time when I try to get in, I wait between 5 and 10 minutes. It's usually actually pretty quick. Hex says, I'm on Steam and I've been waiting since the stream started. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing, chat? Isn't that remarkable? Should we take a look at the Steam charts? All these people out here false reporting. Look at that. So currently there's 233,000 people playing on Steam, and by some miracle, the servers are at capacity. Do you know what that means? That means approximately 270,000 people are playing on PlayStation, which means what people said a week ago is holding true. It's holding true. It's about a 50-50 split. You waited 5 to 10 minutes several times today. What that means is you're constantly waiting for somebody else to stop playing. Even if it's a minute or two, that means they're basically right at 450. Like, come on. You can skip queues by joining friends? Really? I just logged on. It took 4 seconds. I logged on and got on instantly. Well, people are reporting differences because Hex said he waited. Somebody in the Discord said they waited. Somebody in chat other than Hex said they waited. People are not getting in immediately. They're saying that they're waiting. What that means is that you're right around 400,000. Go to the Galactic table. How many people are playing right now? What's the Galactic table say? Because that's downstream from the matchmaking. That's people that are already in the game. Yeah, people are AFKing. They're going to put in a fix for that. I don't think they anticipated needing an AFK fix. I don't think they anticipated that. 230 plus 270 is 500. Oh, I was thinking that it was 500,000. Sorry, you're right. It's 450,000. Sorry, 220. 220, not 270. I'm bad at math. No AFK implemented. No AFK kick. It could be regional things too. Yeah, because the other night, people in the Discord were saying they couldn't get in and had been waiting for 20 minutes, and I got in after 5 minutes. I got in after 5 minutes, and there were people in our Discord saying that they had waited 20 minutes to play. There could be regional reasons why you might get in quicker than somebody else. Because when they said 20 minutes, I told my wife, I was like, well, let's see what happens. Sony owns Starship Troopers. I don't see it going to Xbox. Yeah, there's supposed to be a patch today, Jalen, over there, watch on Reforge Rundown. That's the mobile stream. That's the vertical stream. Yo, welcome back, Shadow Lemons. It's 1,000% regional. 349,000 active players. Then why would Hex be waiting? Are they bottlenecking regions? Hex, I would reboot your game because it sounds like you should be able to get in right now. They're about 100,000 shy of max. So that's a 120 versus a 230. So that would be me. That would mean more are playing on Steam. I don't know why people are getting queue times if they're not at capacity, unless they're bottlenecking regions to ensure people can get in faster. I don't know. I watched a streamer and it took them 1 hour and 40 minutes. That doesn't make any sense. They're not even at capacity right now. Unless the galactic table could be wrong. If people are getting hit with the queue and other people are getting in and the galactic table says 350,000, that's 100,000 shy. That doesn't even make any sense why they would be putting anybody in a queue at that point. Unless that's part of the fix that they're trying to outline. I don't know. Yeah, I would close and reboot Hex. Somebody in the Discord also said that they had been waiting. They had been trying to play. That's a good input. If you guys are trying to play and your buddies are getting in and you're not, I would just reboot the game. That doesn't make any sense to me. John with a gifted member. There it is. Thank you so much, John, for gifting a member, taking us to 2 on the day. Appreciate it. The table often shows 0. My guess is the login servers are effed. My galactic table says 0 for everything. Well, then we have no idea then how many people are playing. Because if people are getting hit with queues, it's got to be a regional limit. It's got to be. Which kind of makes sense. If there's less people playing in your region, then your servers wouldn't get... I don't even know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. So maybe they are saying certain regions can get in faster than others. Because like I said, I've never waited very long, which I always found very strange. The servers could have limits by region, such as 150,000 for North America, 100,000 for EU, and so on. Oh, your galactic table says 0? Then we don't have any clue how many people are playing right now. Hex says he's in queue again. Okay, we got people saying they're hitting queues. We got people saying they're not hitting queues. There's no way to know. I would say that means that they're probably close to capacity. They're not below it by much if people can't get in. That means that if they're... How much did we say? Has it updated? I'm showing 233 on Steam charts, but then SteamDB tends to update faster. SteamDB is showing 260. Yours says 02. Yeah, I would say they're close to capacity then, based on the fact that the galactic table is not showing consistent numbers and the fact that people are still hitting queues, which would mean it's still close to a 50-50 split across between the two platforms. All the Yanks are logging on. Oh yeah, midday. What you're dealing with now is our Eastern time zone is awake, Central's awake, and now the West Coast is waking up. Yeah, you're cooked. It's going to get bad again. The cap's 350. No, they said the cap was 450. Did they lower it overnight? I didn't see any updates about that. I did not see any updates about that. They said that they had bumped it to 450. So if they lowered it, I didn't see them say that. There is no queue. You just have to get lucky. That sentence doesn't make any sense. If there's no queue, then why would you need to get lucky? The galactic map is at 349. There are people saying the galactic map is at 0. It's 500K. See, that's why I added everything up to 500. I thought they bumped it to 500, but people are saying that it's currently at 450, and I thought, well, maybe I made a mistake. I might have misread something. Because it was... They bumped it to 350, and then it immediately hit it, and then they bumped it to 450. AOZ says, player counts are distributed, server implementations are never atomic. Games that scale to this size need to take an eventually consistent model. With server problems, this number is likely unreliable. Well, AOZ would know. He works in that side of the industry to a certain degree. They bumped it to 500. If people are hitting a queue and Steam is somewhere in the 200,000s, then it's an even split, dude. If they bumped it to 500,000 and Steam is in the mid 200,000s and people in different regions, some are getting queues and some aren't, then they've got to be closer to 500, which means it's an even split. Everybody that was running with that last night, I was like, that's not how Steam charts work. It jumped by like 200. It jumped by like 130,000 in just a matter of 2 hours, and during that entire time, they were at capacity. 360 in the galactic map right now, based on my galactic map. There are people showing 0, and there are people who can't get in. There's got to be something along the lines that's causing it to snag and tell people that there's either a queue for them regionally or not. I don't know. By the way, if you guys are just tuning in, this is a huge turnout. We have really been loving covering Helldivers. I hope you like Helldivers 2 gameplay, because we will continue to try to play that game on this stream. So make sure that you hit subscribe and the bell button. That way you don't miss on my content. Do me a favor and double check that you have liked the stream. That does help us out. That helps more people find this video. And we have a big goal right now. We're trying to get back to 3,000 members, and we'll do a community game night this Friday night with Helldivers 2. I'm assuming by then some of these fixes will be in place. They're rolling out a patch today that's supposed to help with some stuff. And if you guys go beyond 3,000, then Creature is going to join me. Shown in the PS Store, the PvE game has managed to overtake both Fortnite and Call of Duty to become the best-selling game on PlayStation. Yeah, I filtered last night by best-selling, and Helldivers was in the #1 spot, and I went to most downloaded, and then it was in like the #4 spot, which most downloaded is probably for the entire month, which they're going to fall behind some of the bigger titles at that point, because a free-to-play game like Fortnite, of course it's going to be hard to beat that after, you're 20 days into the month. So on most downloaded, it was like 4th place, and on top selling, it was the #1. You can filter that in the store, in the PlayStation Store. I hope they don't break the game with a patch. The Azure servers are struggling. I mean, any servers would struggle under the weight of this. I mean, Amazon servers struggled under the weight of New World. There it is, a gifted member from Andrew. He says, come on, boys. Let's get the member count back up and get all these people in. My wife will be out of town this weekend, so Friday night will be open to everybody. Let's get as many gifted members as we can before Friday. William Lewis with the 2 spot says, want to play Helldivers 2, but not getting it until it is fixed. Well, they're dropping a patch today. We'll see if it helps. Parasito says, I would imagine they are rate limiting things right now in preparation for the update. They might also be trying to upgrade something on the back end and don't want to do downtime. Yeah, thankfully they haven't had to do a lot of downtime maintenance, because that means nobody can play. Nobody can play. What are you guys putting in the Discord here? Sony's president wants Bungie to be better at assuming accountability for development timelines. Yeah. It looked like Hiroki Toki wasn't a fan of how Bungie manages their timelines. We'll see what ends up happening there. 2 spot Maxwell says, PS5 West Coast got in immediately. Get in while the getting's good, because there's people AFKing and there's people reporting they are having to wait. So it might be regional. Like I said, I've only ever had to wait 5 or 10 minutes. If you guys are trying to get in Helldivers 2 servers at capacity, it's a problem. They've got to figure this out. There is a patch coming today. DK Baker with another gifted member, getting a little single gifted member train going, and takes us all the way to 4 members on the day. Thank you so much, DK Baker. If you guys get a gifted membership on this channel gets you into our Discord. It gets you into extra content. This Friday night, we will be doing like a community game night with you guys. If we can get back up to 3,000 members, we'll let everybody come. And if you really blow the doors off, my producer will have to join me. Hilly can't join me this week. We're changing things up. He's got a couple of weeks where Friday nights just won't work for him. Go ahead and log in now if you're planning on playing for a bit. Oh, I'm an idiot and I didn't move my PlayStation in here. Oh well. I'll have to move it in a bit. Those quotes coming from the QA I added above. Oh, you guys are sharing stuff in the Discord. Maybe coordinate through Discord to join people. If I play on stream, I think what we're going to do is we're generally going to take it easy. I'm just not really in the mood. Like when I'm on my couch, I get my headset out, I get my Astro out, I get my little headphone, and I'm like, I'm happy to play a little bit more sweaty. And a single gifted from Joker Quinn, and a single gifted from Shadow Lemons, and Behemoth comes in with a 5 bomb and takes us all the way to 11. The halfway point of 25. Guys, every 25 new members, I give 5. So even if you join completely on your own, if you decide to join on your own, make sure and pick the $6 tier. The $5 tier is titled Gifted because it's reserved for gifted members. 20 months from Infinite, he says, together for freedom. You keep forgetting to join the Discord. The Discord does community events every Saturday. They all get together, they chat, they play games together. It's a great place to hang out if you're looking for people to play games, live service games, especially together. There's a lot of people here who play games like Justice League and Helldivers 2. I think there's even people who still play Diablo. So it's a great community to be a part of. Just get in if you hit a queue. Just play on easy or trivial so you can chill. I think once you go beyond like 4 and 5, it gets a little wild, and I just like to chill on stream and laugh. I'm not trying to sweat and be like, getting real serious. Would a VPN help you get into matches faster? It might, but I don't know if they have a term of service about that. Some terms of service don't allow for VPN, but yeah, if it's not against the terms of service, you could maybe find out who's getting in. Like, if there are people getting in a certain region and you can't get in, you could maybe switch to their region and see. I'm not sure. What's your friend code on Helldivers? I don't know. I don't have it memorized, and I don't have the game open and in front of me right now. With every Xbox Heavy YouTube channel is complaining about Helldivers 2. Turn the channel? What? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm glad that we have a bunch of people hanging out here. If you've never been here before, it's a daily talk show, Reforge Gaming. I go by Lono. We talk about all sorts of things in the gaming world. I am safe for work, so if you like to throw me on in the background of your day like many of the people do here, they treat me like a video game podcast. Be sure to hit subscribe, hit the bell button. That way you don't miss out on the live shows Monday through Friday, as well as the gameplay if you want an opportunity to play or play with the community. And that's a great reason to be here as well. You might get a gifted membership, and then you can be here tonight. I'm sorry, not tonight. Then you can be here Friday night to be a part of what we do. We do a lot of things with the community. Friday night's one of those times. We do stuff in the Discord on the weekends. It's a good time, man. It's a good place to be. Drummond says, I give up. What are you saying you give up for? You trying to get in the game and you can't? You said, good morning, what did I miss? And then you said, I give up. I'm sorry. What's the issue? Are you not able to get into the game? Hey, Lono, why are people defending the launch of Helldivers 2? It's a great game, but the server capacity and matchmaking issues is a massive problem. Well, you have to define what you mean by defending. Because I said this morning, it's got to get fixed. It's a huge issue. But I'm also being understanding, right? I'm also trying to be understanding. It's like they're a AA studio. They had no idea this was going to happen. They had no contingencies for like AFK people. They had no contingencies for like, what if this game just explodes? Like when virality happens like this, it's organic. It's really difficult to plan for that. Right? It's really, really difficult to plan for that. Because in my estimation, the way that these games typically explode, it's almost always organic. It's never something that you can manufacture. It always happens organically. Because, like, look at what happened with Fortnite. And then everybody else tried to manufacture what happened with Fortnite, and it didn't work. It didn't work. A lot of those games died because they just tried to like, oh yeah, let's just do what Fortnite's doing. And I think that's one of the things about Helldivers, oh, your friend code changes? Oh yeah, then memorizing it would serve no purpose. This is like Baldur's Gate 3, shocking success. Yeah, do you remember when the CEO of Larian said that he told their tech department to expect like 100 to maybe 200,000 people, and they hit like 800 or something crazy? And he was like, yeah, they're really mad at me. Don't you think a beta or two would have been a good idea rather than a raw release date to test the engagement? I mean, Jack, hindsight's always 2020. I mean, we can all play that game, right? I mean, every game can do that. Like, I said that Diablo 4 would be in a better space if they did early access and only built out Act 1 and launched the game a couple of years ago. If they would have taken the Baldur's Gate 3 track, I think they would have a very different game on their hands. Well, again, that hindsight's 2020. Well, yeah, sure. Yo, it's good, Rachel. Good to see you. The best success happens naturally. You can't force it. Right. Betas going forward. Well, hang on a minute now. Hang on a minute. Betas for live service games are incredibly risky and expensive. I don't expect a beta from a AA studio. I don't. I think that's the other thing we have to say is this isn't Blizzard. Medium and smaller size companies don't do typically betas of their live service games because it's very expensive. You got to spin up all those servers, all that maintenance time, all that work, and then guess what? What if it doesn't go well or people have a bad time? That hurts your sales. And nobody thinks, oh, but the game is fun. All they know is, well, the servers were terrible. Well, servers are always terrible in those first couple of days. So that's a huge risk for a smaller studio to do a beta. Hex with a 27-month and a VIP. Somebody drop 4 more gifted, and I'll drop a 10 bomb. Let's get Creature in on this Friday night community game night, says Hex. Guys, Hex is asking for 4 single gifteds, and he'll drop a 10 bomb. I love when the community throws down those gauntlets. Rabbit with 13 months and a VIP. There's so many cool things they could add to Helldivers 2. When you look at the different stratagems from the first game, like the mech exosuits and the motorcycle, well, we know a mech is coming. That was the first piece of post-launch content that they confirmed in that one trailer at the State of Play. Well said, I didn't know they were so cost-heavy. Yeah, I had some people educate me about that. They were like, no, games are not going to turn the dadgum servers on for the press or a beta. It's expensive. It's unusual to do it. And a 5 bomb comes in from Cat Uncle. He goes 1 above, and then 1 from DK Baker, and another one, a 5 from Mash, and another one from Shadow Lemons. That is 12 gifted members, and I've lost my mouse. I don't know where my mouse is. There it is. Oh my gosh. Po Buddy's Nerf It gifts 1, and Patrick gifts 1. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 14, and Speedy makes 15. 15, that takes us all the way to 26. Agent of Chaos, 27 from Joker Quinn. These guys are like, come on, boys. Let's get that member count back up. Let's get Creature in here. And a 10 bomb comes in from Hex. He's a man of his word. He asked for 4, and he got way more than he asked for. Thank you so much, Hex. And then I'm going to gift the 5 that I owe. I owe you guys 5 right now, and I've been doing them right away instead of waiting. If you guys are watching over there on Reforge Rundown, you're watching the vertical mobile stream, you can head over to Reforge Gaming. That's the full screen stream if you prefer that, and the gifted members are kind of popping off right now. Thank you so much, Hex. If you guys got a gifted membership, man, make sure and thank the person that did it and get in our Discord. Lono, he didn't? Oh, stop. You're not allowed to say that, Rachel. Yes, I will scold you. Suicide Squad got for not turning on the servers early. Do you guys remember that same narrative started up about Helldivers 2? You don't remember that? There were people that were like, I don't know, dude. We don't have any day one reviews. That's a red flag. And it's like, it's a live service game. What are you talking about? What do you mean? It's a live service game. That's not standard practice. Like Diablo 4 is not the industry standard practice. So that's why you're seeing all the reviews come in now, because, well, people have been able to play. I'm upset it never came into reality. Yeah, well, you know, a lot of things didn't happen that should have happened. There were a lot of promises made. No, I'm just kidding. You're the best. Thankful for the community. I'm thankful that you're here, Slender. By the way, the brand new member, Speedy, you picked the gifted tier, which is basically like a sample tier. You get into the Discord, you get into some of the members only streams. If you like what you see, you can always upgrade to a full membership to 6. I was playing at the weekend, and I was connecting really quickly. I got into some games in about 5 seconds. I'm in the UK, not sure if that makes a difference. Digital Foundry did a great review. Oh, did they? I'd be interested to see what they say about like the game's graphics and lighting, because that's one of the things that from the very beginning, like the first time they ever showed a trailer, I remember remarking to you guys, I was like, that lighting looks really impressive for a multiplayer game. Usually they tone the lighting down. Eugene says, I'm starting to think gaming Discord is getting dominated by people who just started gaming in the last 5 years, and so they have no clue how things work, e.g. complaining about no day one reviews for live service. Yeah, I wonder, Eugene, is it that, or is it also just a combination of there are bad actors that push false narratives, and they sort of take advantage of the less informed? They're like, yeah, man, I don't know, dude. We might not get a PS5. And the average person's like, I mean, these guys are saying PS5's entering latter stages and we might not get a PS5. 1 week later, PS5 Pro is set to come out, according to insiders, second half of this year. You see what I'm saying? It's just a bunch of bad actors taking advantage of the fact that people don't know the industry or they don't pay attention. They misquote, they misrepresent, they lie. They take stats and completely misrepresent them to the point that, like, Matt Piscatella took down that chart. He's like, people are misrepresenting this. He's like, this is not what the chart indicates. People are like, it's like a 1 to 20. It's like a 1 to 10. It's a 1 to 10 ratio. There's more people playing on Steam. And it's like, no, it's not been confirmed or shown anywhere. What? But that's the way that it goes. We're living in an age we're living in the age of misinformation at many levels. Oh, Nightingale Early Access has officially started. They're no longer doing betas. I really am interested to see if that game can garner an audience. I think Nightingale has a ton of potential. Yo, Slender Brand paying it forward, gets a member, and then gifts one to somebody else and takes us to 38. He's like, come on, let's hit the member goal. Let's have a Friday night community game night. Bad actors for sure. Yeah, those guys got community noted. They were claiming, there were false claims made yesterday that VG247 had reported that Bungie supervised Arrowhead on this game. That has not been reported by VG247. So that was completely made up. So we almost included that in our reporting, and then we vetted it. I was like, okay, if VG247's doing that, I said, okay, where's the article? And then we couldn't find the article. And we're like, well, I don't understand. If they reported on it, you'd be able to find the article relatively quickly. And it was just some account just making crap up. They're just spinning up nonsense. All the real-time data updates are turned off for me also. So it's a new server or they switched it off on the back end. Well, they're getting ready to push an update today, Paul. So it's like it could be related to that as well. They did say that the update today should help. They're making back-end changes because the CEO said it's not just a matter of like buying or increasing server capacity. They're going to have to get labor, like more people working. And PlayStation is helping. I've not been using the second cam today. PlayStation is helping, but they said that like if they're not familiar with the code and the back end and the systems, that it cannot actually be all that helpful. It's like, well, there's only so much you can do if you're unfamiliar with the game's back end code or its systems. So some people just want to pee in the pool. Well, of course, and that's why I'm just not. I'm not concerned with it. I'm just really not. I think these people just continue to fight. Like I said in my show open, they're keeping score in a stadium that no one's sitting in anymore. Right? I didn't get a chance to read your thing, Paris. No, I had so much going on. I just ended up not even reading it or including it in the coverage. I appreciated you doing it. It just, I ran out of time. Preacher and I got on the phone. I came down here. I had to take the kids to swim because my wife had to she had to make donuts for today. And then I had to go to a thing today with my kids. That's why the show was late. My schedule is just not where I'd like it to be right now. It's just one of those times and seasons of life where it's like every time I turn around, something's creeping in on the day and I lose time. So, but like I said, I think people are just literally keeping score in a stadium that no one's sitting in. You know, these phantom victories and losses, it's just like no one cares about that. The general gaming public is not paying any attention to any of this nonsense. They're just playing video games. Like, this game didn't go viral because of, over-promising on the marketing or a big marketing budget. It went viral because it delivered a good product and people are going crazy for it because there's a vacancy for games like this. Right? Parasito back in the community. He's been here for a while, Rach. You're the one that hasn't. And I know you've been busy. But yeah, he's been around for a while. Yeah, they're just out there shadow boxing, Trill. All these shadow boxing experts. It just, Early looks at that Borderlands movie. Oh boy. I don't know just yet. You think those low-cost banger games are going to change the market? Well, one of the things that I've predicted is that the fallout of bigger budgets, studio foreclosure, and layoffs, what I think is going to come out of that is more mid-sized, smaller studios. Because I think what we're learning is smaller studios have a lot more agility and a lot more freedom. They can take risks and they can try something that a big studio would be like, we're not doing that, bro. No way. Think about it like this. We've heard that apparently 343 pitched games that were very, very much like Helldivers, and they were shot down. Now, a smaller studio can say, yo, let's take a crack at that. That could be really fun. Smaller studios making games that suddenly just like, oh my gosh, this game is a huge hit, or oh wow, that's really creative. A big studio would have never been able to do that. I think we're seeing this met out in two ways. The explosion of Helldivers 2 and the lead balloon of the Justice League. Kill the Justice League. Kill the Justice League chased trends that are 5 years old. And the general gaming community said, we're not interested in that anymore. We're not interested in that. We don't want that. In addition to the fact that, like, I continue to think if, like, Gearbox made Kill the Justice League, it would have been received much differently because people would have come at it with the expectation of, like, a looter shooter that was, irreverent and whatever. But I think that's what we're witnessing. It's like these bigger studios, they can't turn the rudder on the aircraft carrier of the game. It's like this game's been in development for 3 and 4 years, and now people are like anti-live service. Like, that's not what we want. We don't want battle passes. Ew, gross. And it's like, well, what are we going to do? I mean, that's the game that we made. And a smaller studio can adapt. Like, I look at Helldivers 2 and I have to think, they're paying attention to the industry and they made adjustments and they made adaptations and iterations, and they're able to do that because, number one, the scope of the game is smaller. The team and the dev studio behind it is smaller, and that gives them that agility. The bigger the studio, the bigger the project, you don't have agility. It's pronounced like meat. What did I say? What did I mispronounce? The real problem with games is investors, because that's all they care about. You just got in PlayStation, no problem? Okay. I couldn't finish Kill the Justice League. I have no problem with live service. The gameplay wasn't fun at all. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, some people just found it to be too repetitive and too mundane. I liked it. I think the back 10% of the game soured it for a lot of people, and it dislodged all their praise. Welcome back, Rachel, as a member. Appreciate you. Modern gaming changes so fast. These games are in development 5 to 7 years. By the time they release, the trend has already gone away and something new has evolved. Exactly. Yeah. You think you know what you're in for, then at the 23-second mark, everything changes? Please wishlist my new game, Kingmakers, on Steam. I need to make sure I'm okay. I'm skipping ahead. Oh. A pickup truck's just driving through. That game actually looks kind of cool. Meat is pronounced like meat. How did I use it? What sentence did I say? I don't remember saying that. Gotta taste that banter and couldn't resist. Always. Always. I think many, including myself, fell victim to live services bad, when in reality we're tired of useless, overpriced microtransactions and season passes. Well, and this was something I always tried to stress to people. It's like, you can do live service without all of the tropes, without all of the stereotypes. You can do it. Like, I don't know. It's like people think that, well, yeah, live service, that's what they're going to do. They're going to do FOMO, and they're going to do overprice this and overprice that. There's no problem with investors in games, says AOZ. Investors want the best game possible to make the most money. The problem is budget gamers that want a disproportional amount of quality for what they pay. Oh, we can see this met out in a few ways. Oh. Huh? I swear I've heard people use it that way. How to pronounce it? Are they saying that's how you pronounce it? I swear to you, I've heard people say met. All right, hang on. We're gonna get Chrome to chime in on this.
Meat.
No, that's meat. Hang on, they're telling me how to say meat. It misfired. Hang on. Definition.
Meat.
Sounds so weird to me. I don't know where I picked that up. I thought it was met. I swear to you, I've heard people say met, like I picked it up from somebody else. We could see this meet out in a few ways. That sounds so weird because it sounds like you're saying meet as in like meeting somebody. It's like that just sounds awkward. It's like people are like, wait, what do you mean meet? We can see this meet out a few ways. Like, huh? Did they use centrifuge? No, it's not centrifuge, it's centrifuge. Centrifuge. This thing spins really, really fast. To met out punishment? To mete out punishment? Yeah, I've always heard it as to met out punishment. I've never heard it as meat, like a meeting or eating meat. Met is a verb. For what it's worth, I think it sounds weird too. I definitely don't have a great history of pronunciations of words. Like, I mess up words. I swear to you, that's how I've always heard that word used. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. With that measure ye met, it shall pass to you again. This is the word. People dumb AF. It was Zubair that corrected me. Trying to correct you and they don't know English. Zubair was the one that corrected me, Eugene. It looks like there's two different words then. There is one that you pronounce like the meat that you would eat, and then there's the met that is a verb, maybe? I don't know. How do you pronounce my meat? Oh my gosh. Grammar lessons with Lono and the gang. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know. This is giving me Chris Farley and David Spade Rhodes conversation vibes. That's what I'm saying. That's what it feels like. Zuby on that dark roast rush today? It's possible. It's possible. Eugene says, Zubair dumb AF. I said it with my chest. Come at me. No more coffee. Oh, I just didn't pull it in the frame. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. I'm being really bad about that. Those of you that drink, if you're a coffee drinker, man, you should head over to reforgeroast.com. We have a light roast and a dark roast. Both of our roasts feature balanced or low acidity. You can get the flavor profiles right here of the original light roast and the original dark roast. This is not a sponsor. This is our website. This is our coffee. I have it roasted and bagged and everything, and they ship it here. They're really nice tear and reseal bags. If you're a coffee drinker and you've never tried this before, man, a lot of people that listen to the show are coffee drinkers, and we appreciate it so much. This game is back from the dead. Gigantic is back from the dead? Why? I don't even. I don't know about that one. We'll see. We'll see if it can make it. I didn't think that game had a shot. Let me check something here. Let me give you guys an update on where we are. And we are going to be playing the game today, so stick around for that. We are at 2638. So we're still around 300 away from the 3K goal. We hit it last week. We always slip a little bit over the weekends. That's normal. That's not alarming. But that's the goal for this week. We'll do a big community game night Friday night. If not, I don't know. We'll probably do a paid members only stream and strip it down and just hang out and play some Helldivers or something. But we'll do a big, huge community game night if we can hit those. If we can hit that goal. I'm sorry. And if we hit the stretch goal, Creature will join us. I think the stretch goal is probably out of reach. 900 is a bit much for 1 week. Prince of Persia, Pacific Drive look great. No Rest for the Wicked and Berserker. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of great games coming out. Pacific Drive looks like it's getting good reviews. I think No Rest for the Wicked looks amazing. It looks more Souls-like than I was expecting, and that's kind of exciting. Obviously, the camera angle is a little bit of a concern anytime you're playing a top-down that's like crazy Souls-like, you know? But I thought it looked really fun. So, as long as they manage the camera angle, I'm not concerned. I think it looked really good. The graphics looked incredible. And yeah, Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia is a great game. I love that one. I rolled credits on that one. That was really fun. Hex says, I'm finally in Helldivers. You see what I'm saying? Hex waited that entire time. That doesn't make any sense. There are people getting in right away, and he waited for the last probably 30 minutes. I don't get that. Rainbow Six Small? What are they doing? The Mad Ronin, thank you. These people have me double checking, says Zubair. It looks like the Cambridge Dictionary is agreeing with Zubair. The king meted out punishment. Now, you're really going to say meted? Yeah, meted out punishment? I don't know, man. Hex tax? Yeah, there must be a hex tax. Bait used to be believable. Yeah, Sony pulling Cyberpunk from their stores, but not Trash Divers 2 is wild. This is substantially worse. So is living terminally on Twitter and just being angry at everything. I think that's worse than waiting in a queue for a game. People are playing right now. People are reporting they're only waiting for a few minutes, if that. Parasito with 15 months. Helldiver, you've been witness ignoring your mission orders. If you continue, you'll be sent to freedom camp for treason. Please democratically rectify this at your earliest convenience. Thank you so much, Parasito, for 15 months. If you wonder why it's coming back, product received for free, product received for free. All the reviews are saying it was received for free. What are they doing? Like a bunch of sponsored? Are they doing a big sponsored push? Don't say meted. I'm going to mete out a bunch of democracy later. That's what I'm going to do. I just got in immediately. Don't compare Helldivers 2 to Cyberpunk. Anybody comparing Helldivers 2 to Cyberpunk is a bad faith tribalist. I mean, I'll just call it what it is. You're just being a bad faith tribalist. You don't care about accuracy or truth. You care about wailing on a game because it's on the platform that you don't like. It's juvenile. There's no reason to even take it seriously. Justin Straw with 19 months, welcome back. And a 5-bomb comes in from Parasito. He's like, come on, boys. Let's get this number up there. He's like, we can get back to 3K. Can have our Friday night community game night. Pilk says if you buy a Steam key from another site, it shows as received for free on Steam. So everybody's buying Gigantic on other key sites? Why would other key sites even be selling Gigantic keys right now? The game's old and basically looked like it was EOL. I just saw the Borderlands teaser. It looks terrible. Can't wait for it. Yeah, the pictures that I've seen, I think, look bad. We can't call them what they really are. They're fire resistant. Yeah. A lot of fire resistant people out there. It's a top-down roguelike mobile game. What? And Slender with a 5-bomb himself takes us to 48. This guy just got a membership today, and he is dropping the love. I appreciate it, man. Slender says, F it, we getting there. This guy believes in getting that goal, man. I love to see that. A white badge dropping member bombs. Y'all need to show up. This guy's showing you. Look at him go. What's good? Good to see you, Feed. There is no queue if it's just retry every 30 seconds. You are lucky you get it instantly. If you're not, you can be waiting for long periods of time, says Hyde. Nah, it's going to be terrible, and I cannot wait for it. Oh, you guys want it to be terrible? You think that's going to be... What? Wait, have they changed Gigantic into a top-down? What is that? Oh, that's the Rainbow Six Small. And a 5-bomb from MASH, and that's Agent of Chaos as he pushes us past 50 to 53. MASH has been supporting this stream so much lately with gifted members. You love to see it. I owe you guys another 5, and here they come. And we'll get that, man. I'm telling you. When we band together like this, it's great. It's good for the community. We get more people in the Discord, more people playing Helldivers together. You love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. Kevin Hart is rolling, makes no sense. I don't think they went for what makes sense. I think they're trying to sell tickets, and he's funny, and they put him in a role that they'll probably make Roland funny. Roland was never funny. He has a ton of swagger in the first game. In the second game, he's stiff and stupid. They ruined him in Borderlands 2. I've always said that. Borderlands 1, Roland's awesome, you know? We got guns over here. It's like Christmas. Critical bit. And then all of a sudden you get into Borderlands 2 and he's like, Vault Hunter. Like, what happened? What in the world? A different character. The Danzatastic with 29 months. He says, 29 months. Let's go. Welcome back, Danzatastic. Eugene says, I think Borderlands movie proves they were wrong to reboot the game into animation and should have stuck with the realism style. I don't think you can prove that with a movie because the game has been vastly successful and is very recognizable. So I don't think the movie proves your point. I think the game's iconic look and recognizable status is proof that they made a perfectly fine choice. Yo, Randall gifts a member and takes us to 54. $2 super chat tip from P-Dub H-Town says, if we get to 75 members, I'll get us to 100. Yo, P-Dub H-Town throws down the gauntlet. He says if we get to 75, he's going to drop 25 members on the chat, dude. Let's get it. If we get a single in 55, you might tempt one of the big boys to drop a 20 bomb, and we'll go right up with P-Dub H-Town to 100, dude. He's throwing down the gauntlet, y'all. it looked so much better, turned people off, likely didn't gain any from that. I mean, maybe it hurt the first game, but again, I think they're iconic now. In a world of games with realistic graphics and, guns, I think Borderlands has its own identity now. A Borderlands 4 dropping in that art style, I think it's going to be sick. It'll be sick. And we've been talking about that. Art style endures. Realistic graphics don't. Realistic graphics either look like everything else or fall behind. And art style endures. I love what they did with Sweet Tooth on the TV show. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Kevin Hart plays Kevin Hart. He's not always a winning formula. Not sure he's a good pick for Roland, but then again, I don't think the film is going to be that great. Yeah. And another one comes in from DK Bager. There it is, 55 out of 75. Let's see if we can do this. If we can tempt somebody to drop the 20 bomb, and then P-Dub's going to get us to 100. He said if we hit 75 members, he will get us to 100. We'll see if anybody takes up the gauntlet. Realism doesn't mean you can't have style. I mean, I don't disagree with you, Eugene. I just don't know if the movie proves your point, right? I don't know if the movie, proves your point. Javier's lurking. Watch out. The Twisted Metal TV show. He was great. Oh, I see. You guys talking about the Twisted Metal show. Yeah. Graphics in TLU are unmatched. I mean, I don't know. There's some great looking games out there. It's kind of random to say that, Like Red Dead Redemption 2 is still hailed as one of the best looking games ever made, I do think the graphics and the faces and stuff are really, really tough to beat. They really are. I think cartoonish graphics are less popular. Ghost of Tsushima isn't realistic, but it looks amazing as well. No, Tsushima's realistic. They look like real people. It's not stylized or cartoonistic, right? Horizon Forbidden West, God of War, Tsushima, Death Stranding. These are realistic looking games. They're not stylized. The common mistake people make with realistic graphics is that realism is an art style. The problem is some games go for realism. They don't have a real art direction or style. That's fair pushback. Yeah, I think that's good nuance to say that realism as an art style doesn't mean you go generic photorealism. So like a tree is a tree and a truck is a truck and a person is a person. Like, yeah, I think that's fair to push back. Maybe I'm being too simplistic and we should be saying like, more photorealistic games. Like you can have a realistic game with its own art style for sure. I'm biased. I think Borderlands looks awesome. I've always thought that the cel-shaded but not cel-shaded comic book dark outlines, I've always thought that looks really cool. I know a lot of people who want to play Fortnite. Oh, they don't want to play Fortnite because it looks too cartoony. You're certainly right that art style is a stigma for some people. They're like, that looks like a game for kids. Like, I remember people saying that about, like, Ori, the first Ori. They're like, that looks like a game for kids. It's so cute and adorable, and it's actually a pretty challenging game. Like, it's not like a Souls game, but, like, it had some tough platforming in it. I remember people being like, oh, I really underestimated this game. This isn't just some simple kids game. It's actually got some challenging spots. The running spots, especially, like when you're running from the water and stuff. If you guys are just tuning in, man, we've had a stellar day talking Helldivers 2, being a victim of their success. Tons of new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who hit subscribe today to join the channel. You might get a membership. People are kind of going crazy and dropping gifted members on the chat. We've already had 55, and we have a gauntlet thrown down right now by P-Dub H-Town. He tipped a super chat, and he said, if this hits 75, he'll take us all the way to 100. So you guys are still working on that, and you're still working on the like count as well. Let's get to 400 likes. There's plenty of people here right now. If you haven't taken a second to hit that thumbs up, do it. It helps the video find more people. And it helps us also when I'm no longer live, the video sort of functions as a past broadcast as well. I love that game. Looked like Arcane. I love a game that looked like Arcane. Oh, the show. Aside from games, look at anime. Great art style that tells awesome stories. Just side notes aside of gaming. I do like games that look like living cartoons, but I got to tell you, maybe try to get things back on subject here with Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 has achieved kind of what we're talking about. It is a realistic game, and yet it's got art style. It has a vibe. It has a look and a feel. It has a very, very clear identity. You know? People are debating the game on Twitter right now. I wanted to see if they had pushed out have they pushed out the patch yet. Any news on the roadmap for updates? No, I said in my show open, I kind of open up every show with a monologue, and I said that I think around the third week, like the end of the third week, third or fourth week, they got to put out some kind of a tentative roadmap. They've got to, right? You know, if they don't, they've not tweeted out anything about the patch. They tweeted 2 hours ago about enemies of Super Earth, so no updates since then. I think they've got to put out like a, hey, this is our tentative roadmap, because around that time, like around that three week window is when you are going to see the biggest drop. Like that's when a lot of people are going to start taking breaks. Other games are coming out. People have felt like they've grinded enough, right? Yeah, I played Ultros last night. The art style's amazing. The animations on the character are a little strange because I think they're lower frame rate than the game. It's always weird when games do that, but it feels good. It looks good. Sound is good. Yeah, Ultros is a very cool little Metroidvania. Well, I don't know about little. It could be a big game, but I was enjoying it. The patch, the Helldivers 2 patch, is supposed to address back-end issues that should help with what's going on. So, this guy's saying, what is the proposed business plan for a supplier to monetize the other screens where the current market demand signal isn't sufficient to warrant the cost? How does PlayStation, for instance, get return from the engineering LOE and the OPEX for deploying Spider-Man 2 to mobile devices and cloud? Number of customers, sales revenue, margin, associated costs. Yeah, I think people are getting really, really ahead of themselves, thinking that like that's where the market is going. There are certain games where like the studios just aren't going to be able to justify putting their game quite literally everywhere. That's just a weird thing people are saying. There are games that are going to do that, but there's also very big differences between the player pools and the commercial trends and the customer trends. There are just games that aren't going to perform well. I don't care how strong mobile devices get. They're just games that aren't going to perform well in the mobile market. They're just not. I mean, I just think that's easy to see. I don't care how strong your iPhone gets or your iPad gets. There are just going to be games that will not do well in that market. I don't know. I would be happily proven wrong, but I just don't think so. The types of games that flourish there have really dictated what player expectations are. Piloctor says, I want to ask you, Lono, do you think this game has the power to change the gaming industry where we shift from PvP to PvE, kind of like what BRs did to gaming? People doubt PvE potency. I have been saying for a very long time that I think there is a percentage of the market that would eat up games like this. And I was always told that I was wrong. I was like, no, PvP is king. And I'm like, no, I think there's a hunger for games to just play with the boys. Like you just want a knock around game to play with your buds. I think there are games coming that are going to test this. Helldivers 2 is testing it, and Ubisoft has a game called Project U. I believe that game is going to test this as well. A game that is more PvE focused. You are competing in that game, but you're also working together at the same time. Helldivers 2 Release 1 latest test branch of the game updated 26 minutes ago, with Release 1 RC updated 3 hours ago. Looks like it could be getting close to pushing the update. I wanted them to push that update and then we would go live and try it out. I literally created my thumbnail hoping that that would happen. Tired of PvP, it's littered with cheaters. I don't think that I'm a barometer of the market, but I have to think there's a lot of people like me. We're aging out of PvP. We're too old and we're too slow. And even if we're not willing to admit that we're too old and we're too slow, we're tired of it. We're burned out. I played Call of Duty from the first one all the way to Black Ops 3, and I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so burned out. I never liked PvP that much after it. And we make up a very large portion of the player base of the gaming world. I've always said most gamers are over the age of 28. They're starting to enter seasons of life where they got a job, college, a kid, responsibilities. They can't play as much as they used to play. So that compounds the issue, because then when you try to play a PvP game, what happens? Well, you're going to fall behind. You're not going to be as good. PvE games, that just isn't a thing. It's like a PvE game you can just boot up and play with your buds. You know, it's just, I've continued to say that, and I always had people disagreeing with me. They're like, no, PvP runs the world. Certainly PvP will probably always be more popular because it's an instinctive thing, right? The history of gladiators, Olympians, and sports tells us that humanity likes and thrives off competition, head to head. Who's the winner? Who's the loser? Like, it's baked into us. But I also think that's not all we consume. That's not all we care about. There's other facets of humanity that I think a game like Helldivers 2 taps into. Folks just want to have fun. They just want to laugh with their buds. Did you guys see the video that went viral of the two guys debating about, he says, shoot his left leg? And he's like, that's not his left leg. He's like, that's his right leg. And he's like, no, that's our right. That's not his right. Well, what do I care about his left and right for? It's hysterical. It's like, it's exactly what you expect in a game like this. The boys get together, they're playing, and they're just laughing, cutting up, you know, giving each other grief. It's like, that's the kind of stuff that makes a game like this sticky. It's like you're just having fun with, you're having like organic moments like that where it's just hilarious. Would you say they're entering their latter stages of life? Humanity has also evolved into societies. We're driven both by competition and cooperation. That's exactly right, Eugene. That's exactly right. I think there is this game is proving that there are lots of people that'll play a PvE game. They're like, we don't want PvP. We don't need it. Project U has the right ideas. I just don't think it's there yet. I've not seen anything on it or heard anything on it. I just know it's got a similar idea of like, it's not really conventional PvP. It's more PvE with a dash of PvP. Like you're competing, but you're not like shooting each other. Reminds me of those videos people put out of the Steadfast Nations of War. Well, what I want to know from his point of view. Yeah, the video was so funny. It's so comical because it's exactly the kind of debate that you have with your friends. It's the exact kind of debate. You're like, what do you mean? What do I care about his point of view, right? Oh, it's just so good. It reminded me of the debates about front of the room, back of the room in the raids. It really did. Now you guys, P-Dub H-Town, he threw down a gauntlet and you guys are leaving the man hanging. You know, he said if we get to 75 members, he'll get us to 100. Come on, y'all, don't leave this poor guy hanging like that. He super chatted and everything. I just like logging in and seeing how much democracy that we've spread on the map. I actually think the Helldivers 2 galactic map, I actually think that's going to play a part in the fact that this game has longevity, because they're selling a vibe. It's like, you're like, yes, for democracy, and the memes and the gifs and the tweets and the jokes, and you log into the game and that's intrinsically built into like, oh, what's going on? Are we beating these guys? Did we save this planet? Did we save that planet? And there it is, a 5-bomb from Lone Wolf and a 5-bomb from Parasito. They're like, come on, boys, let's get a 5 gifted member train. What would be hilarious is if you guys don't even let P-Dub H-Town do it. Just get a 5 gifted train going and leave them in your dust. Do it. There y'all go, says Lone Wolf. Thank you, Lone Wolf. Thank you, Parasito. This community's generosity, dude, never ceases to amaze me. Because I got to pay up at 75, and then I got to pay up again at 100. That's 20 members for me today alone if we hit that. Servers are at capacity. Let's check the Steam charts. Servers are at capacity. 266,000 people are playing on 266 according to Steam, 298 according to Steam DB, so about 300,000. And a 10 bomb from Priest Valen, and Graydon with a 5 bomb, and Hex with a 5 bomb. Look at that. Another 20 members comes flying in. We're at 85. It's a race. It's a race to beat PWH Town. We need 15 more to hit 100. Do it. Do it before PWH Town. Fine, here you go, says Priest Valen. That's right. That's right. Do it. Beat him. Hit 100 before he hits. We only need 15 more. Then DK Baker is going to throw in and help out and take us to 86. You love to see it. And another 5 from Keithius takes us to 91. We're right on the doorstep. Don't let PWH Town gift his members before we get to 100. And another 5 from Ravenstorm takes us to 96. Look at that. It's masterful. We only need 4 more. Don't let him do it. Don't let him. He's probably frantically clicking right now. Don't let him do it. Oh, he beat it. He got it in. He got it in. Well done. Well done, PWH Town. And another 5 comes in from Shadow Lemons. That takes us to 121. I now owe you guys another 10 members. And another 5 from PWH Town. He's the Agent of Chaos on his own thing that he did. Holy moly. I owe you guys 15 members right now. And another 5 comes in from Sorcerer of Havoc. He takes us to 131. This is what we do here. This is the community that you have a chance to be a part of right now. If you get gifted a member, get in our Discord. Play some Helldivers with this community. We do community events every weekend. This Friday night, if you guys keep this up, we're going to hit 3,000 members again. We will do an all-members community game night with Helldivers 2. Jump in right now on your own. It's $6 for a standard membership, or if you can't afford a membership, this community is incredibly generous. I owe members right now. You might get one. I currently owe 15. If this hits 150, I'll just drop a 20 and that'll be the end of it. That'll be what I'll be all paid up at that point. Whew, that was a lot. Getting in is better, but matchmaking is still rough. Yeah, they've got to get the matchmaking fixed. I said that first week. I said, queue times are one thing. Queue times tend to resolve themselves over time, but if you can't frickin' matchmake with people, this game's going to suffer because, the single players don't want to have somebody playing with them. Sadiqua Flowers gives us another 5 and takes us to 136. Thank you so much for doing that, Sadiqua. You probably want to think about getting your PS5 in the stream room soon. Numbers seem to be climbing all morning. And another 5 from the Green Monster and takes us to 141. All right, if we hit the 150, I'll drop the 20, and then I'll quickly go get my PlayStation. I'm going to go owe you guys 20 as soon as this is 150. This is crazy. I love seeing names, too, that I've not seen gifting before. That's amazing to see so many different names. Sometimes it's like a couple of the same folks. I love seeing it spread out like that. That just shows that the community's catching the vision of what we do here, man. We're trying to get as many people in as possible. Yeah, the numbers are climbing. I'm going to get my PlayStation in here in just a second. And just like that, we doubled the member count. That's right. Let me give you guys an update on where we stand, because I think we were around 2,700. And a 5 spot from Texas Scientist says, we have a Flavia Creation C300 brewer. Any chance Reforge packets for it? You can buy reusables usually for those brewers. I can't do that. We're already at 2,746. So with my 20, you guys are almost to 2,800 just like that. Because my gifteds count in the total. And a single comes in from Bernard. Thank you so much, Bernard. Yeah, so just like that, we're already at the 2,800. Like, we've already climbed quite a bit, because when I add in I'm going to add another 20 in a moment, and that's going to get us even closer. Fellow coffee lover from Texas, I'll be moving there soon. Sounds good. Yeah, Texas scientists, the reason that I can't do that is I have to buy these at like a certain quantity. So I can't just like call up the company and be like, yo, can you give me like a couple hundred of these packets? And if I did, they do sometimes let you do that, but then I would end up paying a higher premium, which means I'd have to charge you way more, and it just wouldn't be worth it. Like, you'd be spending way more than it's reasonable, and then at that point, it's like, you can look into getting reusables, and this, I think, is a very, very reasonable priced coffee for a 12-ounce bag. So, we've had coffee snobs say we're not charging enough, but it might be me, but a PvE game should never be single player. No one's gonna hurt you when you just want to have fun. Wait, a PvE game should never be single player? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Helldivers 2 Steam reviews are dropping down to mix. It's not a good sign. Yeah, it's because of the server issues. It really is. Like, that's what it boils down to. I went through and looked at the negative reviews, and they kind of fall into two camps. There's people that really don't like the anti-cheat, and then there's people that are mad about the server queues. I didn't find a single negative review that was like, this is a bad game. And Parasito with another 5 takes us to 147. We're right on the doorstep of 150. We get to 150. I'm going to drop a 20 bomb, and then I'm going to go get my PlayStation. We just need 3 more. Lono, go get your box. Oh, I love to see Shelly getting a membership. Good to see you, Shelly, if you're in the chat. Thanks so much for being here. Guys, make sure we're make sure we're hitting the like button. We only need 40 more likes for 400 likes. Let's set our sights on the next like milestone. I like the fact that the game is unabashedly co-op. Are you going to have a bad time trying to play Helldivers 2 solo on anything beyond medium? Oh, for sure. We talk about the community being the advertising for the game as well. Recruitment videos, propaganda videos, etc. It's just really interesting to watch. Right, that's why I said it's organic. Like, you can't manufacture this. It just isn't possible. It isn't possible. You cannot. This just happened. They were not expecting it. Heck says, come on, I want to play with Lono. People often wonder the reason why Helldivers 2 is so good and addicting. Some say it's difficulty, some say it's the variation. What do you think it does for players? I have said that it delivers excellence in all the categories that it touches. A single gifted from Silver Subaru. 2 more. The sound design is fantastic. The lighting, like just the barrages coming in and the Gatling turret shooting. Seeing the lighting effects and the sound and your guns and the body parts, like you shoot them and pieces fly off here and there. There is so much measurable and experiential player impact. I think that's something that really needs to be analyzed with Helldivers 2. There is significant amount of player impact. The way that even like barrages will tear down a or destroy a bunch of these guys, a bunch of these enemies, and it's like thudding like a drum, and the lighting, it's like almost like blinding sometimes, and the explosions, and you know the simple recipe of I'm being attacked, I've got to put in this code. It just does something to you. You feel a sense of impact on the game. And I think that's key. I think that's key to why it's being successful. Because players like to see the result of their work. We've all played these games, right? Where everyone's running around and everybody's shooting and everything's dying relatively quickly, and that's just kind of the end. Have you ever played a game where when you shoot the enemies, nothing really happens? They just kind of fall down? And you don't feel that player impact. Remember when we analyzed the Redfall gameplay, and I said there's just no bullet impact. The enemies don't really respond, right? Can you join as a level 1? Yeah, that's fine, Raven. We're going to be playing really laid back today. I think that's something that people need to remember, is it's like, if you don't feel the impact of what you're doing, it doesn't immerse you into the experience. It feels like just some other throwaway game. You know, you shoot them and shoot them and shoot them, and they just kind of collapse. In this, they're getting stunned, pieces are flying off. JC gifts some Ember, 149 out of 50. Who's going to take the glory home to get us to 150? It's a race. It's a race to see who gets the glory. And then I'm dropping a 20 bomb. I'm getting my PlayStation, and we're going to play some dadgum Helldivers. P-Dub H-Town does it. He lands the single gifted, perfectly lands the plane on 150. I'm dropping a 20 bomb. You guys have gone absolutely massive today. I can't say thank you enough for the way that this channel is getting support and daily turnout. It has been remarkable. It's just been remarkable. Covering all kinds of things. We covered multiple days of Xbox because of everything that happened. And then we did a Skull and Bones stream that you guys turned out for. And now we're covering a PlayStation console exclusive. Well, it's also on PC. But you know what I'm saying? We are all over the map on topics. And I'm going to grab my PlayStation while those 20 are hitting the chat. Welcome as a brand new member, Cream Pie Samurai. That's a heck of a name. You're the agent of chaos. You pushed us past 150. I'm going to owe you guys another 25 if we hit 175. Keep it going. Keep it going. I'll be right back. Those of you that are watching the mobile stream, we appreciate you watching over there on Reforge Rundown. You can subscribe over there, or I'm going to redirect you guys over to the main stream. I appreciate you watching the mobile version. Everybody watching on Reforge Gaming, you can stay put. We are going to be playing the game soon, and we've been doing that over there just as a bit of an experiment. We're seeing. We're not seeing insane results, but we're seeing decent results. We'll keep doing that for now to see how it goes. And we'll bring those folks over. And a single gifted from Sneaky Wolf. Thank you so much, Sneaky Wolf, taking us to 152 on the day. You love to see it. Let me give you guys a member update as well. As I close down out of all this stuff. Let's make sure we get into the game, shall we? 2778. You're 22 away from 2800. Nice big bump. I missed one of P-Dub's. No, P-Dub's single. Oh, he did two. P-Dub did two. I am so sorry. P-Dub, you rascal. You did a single and you did a you did both. You hit the goal and you did Agents of Chaos. You are something, aren't you? This guy out here. All right, let's make sure we can get into the game. Parasito says, there's also the hero moments, and the game allows for, especially as the timer gets closer to zero, clutch reinforcements. Right, like you feel like you're actually pulling off cinematic moments. There's a cinematic quality to the game. There really, really is. I'm telling you, they just nail it. You know, they absolutely nail it. And I'm in the game right now, and I have 5 medals. I believe I'm saving for something. What am I saving for? My battle pass is different. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. I was like, what the heck happened? Yeah, I'm saving up for a 20. I did try out I got a shotgun that I've been trying out. It's actually kind of fun. If you guys are on my friends list, you can join up. If those of you that have been blessed I made it in. Just go ahead. I need you to add you as a friend too. Yeah, if you guys, those of you that have added me as a friend, do so. I'll do my best to get you added in. Hang on. Let's see. Okay. Let me get this scheduled as well. Let me get this stream scheduled. I don't have the gameplay stream scheduled just yet. And I love the fact, like, if you guys continue to support Helldivers gameplay, I've wanted a game, you know, to spend some time in weekly grinding. I really miss that. I used to do that all the time with Destiny. We were kind of thinking that Diablo might be that game, and that Diablo was definitely not that game. And so if Helldivers can be a game that has a regular presence on this, on here, man, I would really, really appreciate that. And we are also waiting for that latest patch to hit. I don't know if it's been pushed out yet or not. We'll keep our eyes on that. This stream was supposed to be a latest patch test stream, so we're just going to run it and hope that that actually happens. If not, I'll go back and change the I will go back and change the thumbnail after the fact. Yo, Dylan, with 24 months, finally got that snazzy red badge. You the best. I love the play today, but yeah, I mean, we can obviously pull from the, you know, the viewers. If I wasn't working, I would join. That'd be awesome. President Hiroki Totoki clarified that multi-platform means PlayStation and PC, not Xbox and Switch. Yeah, it's remarkable what happens when people get so to that level of dishonest. I'm glad he said something. I was so tired of dealing with that. So much nonsense. Helldivers is a fun game to watch. Yeah, like, we're not really known for gameplay, you know? I'm a talk show guy. You know, even back when I covered Destiny, gameplay would be heavy for a week or two, and then it would take more of a back seat. You know, it's just the nature of things, but I miss it. I miss kind of having a game to grind. So I'm totally effing not shocked. Okay. Yo, what up, Jin Sakai? All right, let's get in here. I got to get the cap card going. Yeah. Okay, capture's looking good. Let's get the goal up to give you guys credit for all that you've done. If you want to keep doing that in the gaming stream, that is obviously very, very welcome. Let us set up the redirect. I'll give you guys a link in just a moment. Okay. Okay. And we're going to go in here, and we're going to change the thumbnail on the stream right now, because we will not be live in a matter of moments. So let's get that changed. Infinite already joined. Good to see you, Infinite. We're going to be chilling. We're going to do like level 4 stuff, dude. I'm just trying to have fun and laugh, you know? Not trying to sweat. Not trying to get frustrated. Just trying to get those stratagems unlocked, those medals, you know? All right, let's put this on the front page of the channel. If you guys don't get brought over with the, redirect, I'll put a link in chat. All right, and then I'm not going to send a tweet, since I'll send a tweet if they push out the patch. I don't want to send out a tweet with a thumbnail that says latest patch. We're going to be waiting on that. I'm going to say that in the intro. There we go, bro hugs. Bro hugs all around. What's my friend code? I'll put that on a screen in a minute. I do generally like to pull people that are in our members only Discord so I know who they are. I'm not huge on just pulling random people in. Sorry, that's just not something that we do. We have a very, very big community of folks that hang out in the Discord, and then I know who they are. I know they're not going to be like, intentionally trollish in the game. Yo, Eccentric Engineer picks up their own membership. I love that. So many gifteds, but it's always exciting to see somebody pick their own membership. Discord? What you saying, Lobo? What about it? Are you trying to talk to me in there? You got to use the live chat. We respect that. Okay, yeah. Oh, Fat Lump, you're on right now? Okay, hang on 1 second. I actually don't want to show it. I'll put it in the Discord because I don't want to get inundated. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to get inundated. I'm sorry. It gets really bad. It gets really bad if you're just like letting the public ambush you like that. It's like, oh my gosh. All right, the link in chat is the gameplay stream. Now let's get the sound on, and I'm going to turn my music off. Okay. Thanks so much for checking out this video. We're going to be diving into some Helldivers 2 gameplay, and the latest patch should be out any moment. They updated things on Steam, and they're getting ready to push it out. They did say there's a patch coming today for the back end to assist with matchmaking. So we're going to not matchmaking, but the queue times and the servers at capacity. So if you've been dealing with Helldivers 2 servers at capacity, we're hoping this patch today assists with that. We are going to be generally playing pretty laid back. I'm not going to be doing super challenging stuff, just kind of hanging out with the community. This is a great community to be a part of. If you're watching this later, be sure to hit subscribe. You might even get in to our membership. We have people gifting all the time. I'm going to end the previous stream talking about how this game is a victim of its own success. I'm going to bring people over with